Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel Chamness at soundwavesheal.com. Today I want to talk about shadow work, what it is and how to do it so that we can vibe as high as we can and find joy in our lives every day. This is definitely not a place where we're going to say, light and love only, leave your bad vibes somewhere else. And this is not about bad vibes. This is about you and the things that are coming up for you that are shameful, that trigger you, that upset you, that make you mad, that make you feel bad about yourself. It's really about shame. And when these things come up, why do they come up? We can't just push them away and say, love and light only. That's not going to help you. That is repressing our emotions, which we have all learned is not a good idea in the past few decades. So don't do that. Instead, think of it as an opportunity. Okay, this is coming back up. This issue, I thought I had fixed this issue. I thought this was a long time ago, and now it's coming back up. Why? It's time to deal with it. It's time to finally put this to rest forever if I can. So what about it is bothering me? Why is this coming up? How can I work through this? So I've written a blog post called 8 Steps to Shadow Work, which you can find the link below, and it is really very helpful in teaching you how to work through these problems as they come up. Shadow work is really important. There's no way you're going to make it to ascension with love and light only. Can't go there. We're going to have to work through the hard stuff. And yes, while sessions help with psychic healers like myself, yes, they help with Reiki practitioners, bringing up those things, finding roots of these problems, and bringing this information to you, clearing past lives, things like that. Yes, that stuff really does help. But in the end, you still have to do the work. Now, when I do sessions, I feel like I am working with you. I'm working with your higher self, and we're doing the work together. But there isn't any world where I can fix all your problems for you for money. Like, you still have to do the work. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to bring forth, things that you might not realize that you need to work on, and know that when you have a session with me, your spirit guides might be giving you homework such as Oponopono. So let's talk about Oponopono first. I love it. This is an ancient Hawaiian technique. You can find it all over the internet. You can read books. You can learn all about it. You can use it in a million different ways. I have used it for 20 years. I think it's amazing. It is the 4 sentences. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's what it is. You say it over and over to your higher self. You can use this in many ways. I have used it for all kinds of crazy things, and it has always worked. I've used it to clear a problem I was having. I've used it for people I absolutely can't forgive, where I felt like it was just too hard to forgive at the time. And so I said it to my higher self instead, to forgive my part in it, to forgive any part of me that feels like I brought this thing onto myself. And really, Ho'oponopono is about forgiving yourself, because we do blame ourselves. Why do we blame ourselves? Because we came to this life to have all these experiences, even the bad ones. They were things that we actually picked. They were things that we had a soul contract with someone to do this terrible thing to us, to help us learn and grow in this life. That's why we're here. And so we do blame ourselves, because some part of our mind knows that we brought it on to ourselves in this way when we were on the other side. So, and that's not to say like you're to blame for these terrible things. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that we blame ourselves so we can forgive ourselves for everything. And how do you do it? You can say it over and over. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. This is one of the greatest forgiveness techniques. It can totally change your life. There's a million ways you can use it, like I said, but this is the one we're talking about today. Another great technique I use to release shame is this sentence. I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. How many times are you sitting there thinking about something from a long time ago and feeling all the shame for the way you handled it? Realize that you are looking back with way more knowledge and understanding now than you had then. And you did do the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that's so important to remember that. I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. And that sentence really changed my life. So there are other ways, they're all in the blog. Switch words are great ways to clear shame. But let's talk about the 8 steps. So, what are my 8 steps to shadow work? The first thing that comes up is a thought. This is a thought that makes you feel shameful or that shows you that there's something that needs to be worked on as shadow work. So this is the shadow thought. It pops up. Instead of going immediately to blame, go into acknowledgement. Okay, this has come up. It's time to deal with this issue. I am a human being who cannot be perfect. Therefore, when this thought comes up, it's to be released. I need to release this feeling. Now you need to decide, is this a pattern I need to break? Is this something I need to heal? Or is this something I need to just accept about myself? So if there's a pattern to be broken, then let's look at that to see how you can break that pattern, how you can choose a healthier option or something that works better for you. You could work this out. If it's something that needs to be healed, then you can find a healer or a counselor to help you heal that. That's where a session might come in, or maybe a counselor, or maybe both. Or perhaps it's something that you just need to accept about yourself. This is just the way that I am, and I just need to accept that this is part of my personality. And as I work on my triggers and work on myself, this may improve, but if it's just part of who I am, then it is. And it can be something silly, but you know, sometimes we beat ourselves up over silly, small things. And sometimes we just have to say, you know, this is just a thing I do. It's not that big of a deal, and I can just accept it about myself. It's important to accept ourselves with all of our faults. Remember again, we are human. It is okay to feel this way. This is another part. So it's really important to stop and say, this is how I feel, frustrated, angry, mad about this situation, and it's okay to feel that way. And when you do that, it will release a bit because we often fight against the feeling. So instead we just say, you know what, I feel really triggered right now, and that's okay. I mean, I'm only human. It's okay. And then that act in itself can release you from that a little bit and bring you back into presence, which is really important. We need to come back to presence. Coming back to presence can sometimes stop a trigger as well. So the next important thing is to take one step to helping go forward. Now, perhaps you don't know what that step could possibly be. Perhaps it's time to start trying to observe the behavior that you dislike so much so you can change it. And I want to say this is really important. There are kind of 3 steps here. There's the action of the behavior, there's the noticing of the behavior, and then there's the changing of the behavior. You cannot get from doing it to changing it without noticing it. So what usually happens next is that you start noticing it and it starts to really bum you out. You start to get very upset. Look how often I do this. But I have to tell you that until you notice it, you can't change it. And that is part of the process. So once you start noticing it, you're much closer to being able to stop it and change it. And that is how we change things about ourselves. So don't get frustrated if that starts to happen, because that is really part of the process. And then the last part is always presence, coming into nature. Finding presence can, like I said, stop triggers possibly, or it can at least help you come to a 0 point energy, or what I call the 5th dimensional viewpoint, where you can just step back from yourself for a minute and say, hey, I'm really getting upset. I'm really, this is getting big. Let me just step back and figure out how to start over, or how to work on this, or what I can do. Okay, I hope this helps you. There's a lot more in the blog post if you want to read it below, but I really wanted to go over some of these steps with you. I feel like they are really important. So good luck on your shadow work. Let me know if you need a session. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate it if you hit the bell for notifications and subscribe for more tips on living your highest, best, high vibrating life, and anything you need for ascension. I'm your Lightworker and Ascension Coach, Rachel Shamness at soundwavesheal.com. Thank you.